my name is Greg Ellis, and welcome to Redskin Review. This is our first show for the 2014 season, being taped on Wednesday, August 27th. And in this first show, we're going to take a look back at last year's 2013 Redskins. We'll take a look at this year's team. We'll talk about this first game this year coming up this week at UC against Northwest in the Crosstown Showdown. And we'll talk about a special weekend we have coming up to honor Joe Miller. With me, as always, Dan Alberts, Coach Jeff Giesting. Guys, welcome.
Thanks.
Another year. This is our 24th year of doing Redskin football on Anderson Community Television.
It's amazing.
It's good.
Brad and I started this in 1991. We did one game that year. It was the Anderson Turpin game where Dennis Rucci was the feature back on Turpin.
Yep.
And Lou Andreas was the feature back on Anderson.
Yep.
And we won. Anderson won it on the last play of the game, I think, which became a habit after that. But anyway, Jeff, let's talk about the last year's team before we get into this year's team. Last year went 3-7. Kids played real hard. You didn't get the record you want, but they still had the Anderson pride. They played real hard, I thought.
They were a great group of kids. Really, really a good group of seniors to have. You know, and you have Josh Carell and Evan Lackner and Kevin Rogers and Alex Pfeiffer and all those kind of guys. You really, it's fun to be with those kind of guys. And they really worked hard and they've gone on to some other things. Kevin's at Buffalo now, and he said he's doing fine. I texted him the other day, and Josh had a misfortune of breaking his foot.
Wow.
So he's going to be out about 3 or 4 weeks.
And where's Josh at?
Malone University. And his brother Jesse actually transferred up there with him.
From Butler.
From Butler. And then Fife's up at Toledo and, you know, learning his stuff. And Greg Manns is probably teaching him quite a bit too. You know, so it's just neat to be with those kids for a whole year and just to watch them progress. And you know, we would have liked to win more games. You know, we were 3-2 and we lost the last 5 games, and we lost that heartbreaker at Turpin, and then we hit the tough part of our schedule with Loveland and King still to come, and Winton Woods. So it was definitely a trying year that way, but a very rewarding year as far as the quality of the kids we have and we had. So, you know, they're all moved on to bigger and better things. Evan Lackner stopped by practice yesterday. Was talking to him for a while, and you know, he just every time they come out to practice, they miss it, and it meant a lot to him.
I'll tell you, it says something for the fact that you have all these players coming back all the time, and talking to you, talking to the team, coming to practice. And it says something about the pride they have in Anderson football.
They do. Those guys, they put a lot into it, and I tell the team that all the time. You know, you guys are special because of how much you've put into this thing that we're all part of here, and how much it means to you. And it says a lot about you, that the commitment that you'll make to be with these guys, and they'll be your friends for life because of what you've gone through together.
I basically, over the summer, I haven't really had too much of a life because I was kind of working on doing what Anderson, this is actually the 75th year of Anderson football. Right. So I got to get together with Coach Giesting and John Raymond and a couple guys, and we try to get some of the stats, and it is just amazing to look back the history of Anderson High School football. It's a really, really neat thing.
It is. You look at some of the teams that were played, that we used to play, that don't, like we were just talking before we started, that don't exist anymore. Right. Terrace Park and Forest Park and that kind of thing, and the size of the schools we were playing, and just how much high school football has changed in Cincinnati, and you know, it just was a neat thing. I had that record board that I think we found in the back of the AD's office one time, and John looked at that, and
his dad
started that. Okay, and that's got about 30 years on there or so, and just neat to look at the scores and how many ties there were before there was overtime and all that kind of stuff. So 75 years is a long time, and a lot of memories were made for sure.
Well, and the one thing about that too is that they started off as 8-man football. When they first started, it was 8-man football, and then it changed over at a certain point. I think in '47, somewhere around there, they went to the regular football. So that I thought that was kind of neat to see too.
Yeah.
So, but over that time though too, you've not only had some great players, but you've had some great guys overall through that program.
Oh, tremendous. I mean, the people that have come through and have gone on to be very, very successful, and just since I've been there, that guys that are leaders in the business world, and you know, people that are coaching at the collegiate level, and you know, just guys still here in the community that are leaders and in the community. So it's really is a neat thing to see.
And you know, through that whole thing, the passion that we saw it this summer, you and I and John, when we did the golf outing, when we probably had our best year ever at the golf outing, is because those guys really care, and they came back, and it was a very successful golf outing.
Yeah, it was. It gets better every year, and we'll make it better next year. And you know, it's just good to see those guys, and they love to see each other. And you know, I don't know how good the quality of the golf is all the time, but it's just fun to be together. And then when you got guys that come back and wear their Spirit Pack shirt from
Unbelievable.
1989, like Rob Thuman did.
Unbelievable.
I couldn't believe how he found that thing.
So there's no way you get in that thing.
Yeah, it was kind of cool.
You know, I didn't make it because I had to work, but did you come in last again?
Absolutely. Yes, finished last. And I left last too. I got home very late, so it's just a running thing with me. Had to stay with Thuman. That was scary. So
yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and let's talk about this year's team. You start just like you have almost every year the last 10 or 12 years in the Crosstown Showdown. What a great thing for those kids to play at UC in the first game.
It is neat. We're not playing at Nippert because it's under construction, but we're playing at Shakely, and where we played last year, and it's still neat to go down and play in a marquee event that's getting a lot of you know, interest in the media. And I got a thing today. We're going to go scout McNick and Turpin on Friday, and Channel 5 is going to interview me at I think 6:25 or something to talk about the renewal of the King of the Hill and the local rivalries and that kind of thing. So I'm hoping that you know, King of the Hill is something that continues again for years and years. I never really understood why it stopped. And you know, hopefully that continues, and all three schools will continue to want to play. But you know, the Showdown has just been the best high school event in the country, really, for kicking your season off. And we've had some success, and we've had some tough losses too in it. But it's a chance for the kids to go play off campus usually in a college stadium, you know, because Shakely's under construction, or because Nipper's under construction. We're at Shakely, but you know, it's just something to get excited for, and we've always enjoyed being a part of it.
I can remember one of the first years we played in it, we played Moeller, and we beat Moeller at UC. That was a signature win. That was a great night.
Yeah, that was a good game. We played really well that day, and I think that was the 2003 team.
Yeah, about there. It was
2001 and 2. Yeah,
they were really. That was a really good group. You know, kids, and you know, we kind of surprised Moeller a little bit, and played really hard. And I remember playing down there. Sometimes it's been so hot.
Oh yeah.
Everything else, and we play the evening games, and it's late, or you know, but that's all part of it, and you don't always control who you play. You kind of try to tell Tom Gamble, who's the organizer of it, you know, how you think you'll be and who you might match up with well and things like that. But sometimes you got to put your neck out there and play somebody.
We lost Kevin Rogers, a great leader for 3 years for you.
Yeah.
And you've got a new quarterback this year. Tell us a little bit about him.
Well, Dillon Smith, he's a junior. He's not as tall as Kevin, or as big. I mean, Kevin was, you know, almost 215 pounds and 6'4" or so, and Dillon's about 6 foot and 175, but he throws a really good ball, and he's got quick feet, and he's elusive. Maybe not as fast, you know, for 40 yards as Kevin was, but maybe quicker within 10 yards. I don't know. He's pretty quick in there. He's got quick feet, and he's really developing into a better leader every day. I hear him being more vocal with guys, and I think he's got a really bright future. He's a really good baseball player as well, and has been pitching and playing varsity football. He's going to be one of the first guys to get 4 letters in football, because he lettered as a freshman. Wow. He was our punter a couple of years ago, and so he's. You know, he's a pretty special kid.
Good. A couple of the other guys you got back on offense, Connor Wielden and then Austin Facito.
Yeah, Connor's going to be one of our receivers again, and again, he's another good baseball player, but he's a tall athlete, and he's got good hands and runs good routes. And then Austin is returning, and you know, he had some injuries last year that he was fighting most of the year, and he's pretty healthy now, and he's quick, and he looks good, and he's excited, and And I think he's going to be one of our running backs that does a nice job for us.
Has there been any surprises in the scrimmages and practices up to this point that some surprised you that you weren't expecting before the season started?
Well, I think there's always surprises maybe on the offensive line, and we've got some young kids that are going to be playing and some juniors. A kid like Riley Welton is a junior getting his first start in varsity. I think he's going to have a decent year for us. And some of the sophomores, Dylan Browning and Sean McCafferty and stuff, have got a chance to contribute. And on the defensive side, we've got a kid like Chris Kelly who didn't miss one weight workout all year until he had to go to a family wedding in Puerto Rico this summer. He missed 3 days.
Wow.
He didn't miss one the whole year, and he was a JV kid last year. Now he's starting at middle linebacker for us. He's just got such great heart, and he's not the biggest kid, but he plays really, really hard. So, those are the kind of the surprises, I guess. There's nobody that's jumped out has just been, wow, where'd he come from? We kind of have seen it, but some guys have just kind of further developed themselves, I think.
Let's talk a little bit about that, the offensive line. That they don't usually get a lot of pub, and I know one guy that we've had that played, he might have played tackle last year, and you've moved him to center, and I think he's one of your captains, Jake Bridges, I think, has moved to center. Talk a little bit about your line and how that's kind of pieced together, and what do you expect out of them?
Well, Jake played center last year.
Oh, he did play center?
Yeah, he did. And so he's a returning starter. He is a captain. He's a really, really intelligent kid. I don't think he wants to be an engineer someday. We got Josh Coleman, who's kind of playing both ways right now, playing at tackle. We got Riley at a guard. We've had Donovan Dewing in there, who's a junior. He's got really good size. He's got to learn to bend more and be more athletic. And then, some sophomores, like I said, Sean and Dylan, and then there's Victor Horning's been playing a little bit in there too as well, and then Chris Kelly plays. So it's kind of a mix of guys, and I don't know that we're going to have a solid 5 all year long. We're going to have several guys that can be interchangeable and play there.
Another big person I don't think we've talked about yet is Blake White, played tight end. Will he play tight end again this year?
Yeah, Blake's playing tight end this year, and we may not have him attached on the line as much. We may have him out in space a little bit, but he's, Blake's about 215, 220. He's lost a little weight. He did a lot of basketball and football in the summertime and stuff, but he'll get his weight back on when the weather cools off. And he's done a really good job, and he's also starting on defense for us. We've got a lot of guys that are going to have to go both ways.
And have you noticed the guys are not used to that and they're winded during practice? I mean, because with the heat and everything, have you noticed that maybe during practice?
We've had to make adjustments this week because it's been so hot, but normally not really. I mean, they're in pretty good shape. But you just got to watch how much hitting is going on, right, just because they're constantly and they never get a break, and they're always in there, and there's a lot of running going on and running routes and things like that. So you're constantly evaluating: are we hitting too much, or we're running too much, or is he getting enough breaks, and that kind of thing.
Are you running the same basic offense you're in last year, you think? Or
we'll be a little different. I think we'll be more of a traditional spread concept. We won't be in the pistol as much. We just felt like people were just coming downhill on us so quick and hurting our inside zone game and things. So now we can offset the back and do some other things and run a few other schemes. You constantly have to make changes you think fit your team, and so far we've been happy. With first scrimmage against Western Brown, we were productive as far as moving the football, it's a little more controlled. You run 10 plays, and when you run out of 10 plays, that's it. And a couple times we were down there in the red zone and ran our 10th play. So we were happy with what we did there, and then, like I said, some of the things are going well. As far as changes, we may look to throw it a little more. We've got Dillon, who throws a nice ball, and then Connor, and then Justin Dornbach, who's back from injury, is another big, taller athlete for us. He's about 6'1", maybe 6'2", and basketball player, and he's 185 pounds, 190 pounds, so he's a big, strong receiver. And we put Blake out there, and some other guys. AJ Penley's in the slot some, and we can even put Facito out there. So we're trying to spread people out a little bit so they can't gang up on our young offensive line as much.
Good. On the defensive side, you do have a couple, 3 guys back: Cody Coffey, Derek Mellencamp,
Augie Murphy.
Augie Murphy.
Yeah, and they're probably the three that we'd look to be our playmakers. Cody's going to be our outside linebacker. Derek's one of our outside safeties, and Augie's a defensive end. And they're all a little bit different. Augie's tall and lean and can really run. Really maybe doesn't have the weight you'd think of a defensive lineman. He's about 205, maybe 210. Cody's just a very instinctive, strong kid playing linebacker, and he's been one of our leading tacklers from last year. He and Evan Lackner, and then Derek is a physical presence on the edge. Derek's 205, and he's hard to block out there on the perimeter. We have to keep working on our pass coverage stuff, but we feel like he gives us a big, strong kid that can kind of set the edge for us.
So you're going to be running the same basic defensive schemes?
Yeah, or? We'll still be the same. We'll still be basing out of the stack, and running that. We just don't have an abundance of defensive linemen to get in any kind of four-man front right now, and so we'll have Josh and Augie and Blake White probably be our starting three, but then there's going to be some, like I said, some sophomores playing and some other kids that are going to have to get in the mix.
How would you say that this year's team compares to last year's, size-wise and speed-wise?
I think speed-wise we might be a little faster, certain spots. Size-wise we're smaller.
Smaller?
Yeah, we don't have near the size that we had last year. And then the other kid we're going to miss is Josh Carell. He did so much for us on the defensive side. He was our leading tackler and just did so much for us. And we can't replace him. We don't have a kid that's like him playing that safety spot. So, we have to make some adjustments with our schemes there and what we're going to do. So, but the kids are working hard and they're trying. And this has been one of the most enjoyable group of kids we've had around, because they trust us as coaches, and we can trust them as players, that they're going to do what we want them to do. It's just tough sometimes because our numbers are down a little bit. It's a small senior class, and there's only 14 of them, and one of them is hurt. Brennan Shelton came out, and then he had to have a procedure done, so he's out for a while, but they're just a real tight-knit group and a tight-knit team, I think.
Well, you can see that Daniel had some videos, and we were kind of watching some of those, and how they were just animated and they were all into it. And you can see, and that's just awesome to see when you see that.
Yeah, they get excited, and they, like I said, they care about each other. They get excited when their teammates are doing well, and they're willing to challenge each other, and we just keep preaching that to them over and over, that's what they have to continue to do. And because if you can't grow together as a team, you have no chance to win.
Right.
And like I said, this group has just been very, very good in the off season and all the way through, and very enjoyable to be with and coach.
Good. Is Dillon Smith going to still be the punter? Or?
Yes, Dillon will still be the punter, and then Ryan McClellan will be the kicker.
Okay.
And he's worked hard all summer. He wants to kick in college, so he's got his personal kicking coach that he's worked with all summer, and he's really improved his leg strength and his accuracy and his height of the ball on the extra points and field goals. So I think he's, I would say our kicking game has improved.
Good. That's good.
But again, we got to find other special teams players to go down and make tackles on the punt team and the kickoff team, and guys to block, on punt return and all that kind of stuff. So it's a whole, package of things you're looking for.
We've heard that you talked about a lot of the guys that were sophomores last year that are coming up. You've got a pretty good underclass. Talk a little bit about some of the underclassmen, like the JV, and I know you're freshman. I think they're coached again by Bill Miltebrink again. Right. Talk a little bit about those two younger teams.
Well, the JV, the sophomores, I think they were 6-2 last year, or 6-3 as freshmen. They won the league, and they just did a great job. Just some tough kids, not any superstars, just really good, solid kids that are going to be really good high school football players. And then the freshman team has got 40 kids, and they have a lot of size, and they've got some athletes, and it's a group that's used to winning. They haven't, I don't think they lost, in the 8th grade they didn't lose a game. They've won, they're split in the 7th grade, but they won a lot of games in the 7th grade, and some of them didn't lose a game coming up through Anderson Youth or Mount Washington, or not Mount, but Forest Hills. And, so they're going to have some size, and some of the linemen are already, 220, 230 pounds as freshmen.
Wow.
So there's going to be some big kids coming along in the next few years. It's a good problem we're going to have in the next couple of years. We're going to have an abundance of linemen, which is always a good thing. And then we can find some skill kids here and there to plug in there. But you can't ever have enough good linemen.
When do they start their seasons?
The freshmen open up Saturday at Northwest.
Do they?
The JV, there's no JV game this week because we're playing on Saturday as well.
Okay. Let's get into a little bit about the game this weekend. You play a Northwest team that's a really good team. They've got 26 seniors.
Yeah.
They went 9-3. I think they won a couple games in the playoffs or one game in the playoffs. But they've really got a talented senior class, and I think a lot of them might be on the defensive side of the football.
Yeah, they're a good team. They've got a lot of speed. They've got if you looked at the spring track results, Northwest had a lot of guys that were winning a lot of track meets, the sprinters and stuff. So we got to keep them in front of us, and obviously they have a speed advantage on us. But and they've have some returning kids. They lost their quarterback, which was I think he was a 3-year starter and really was a special kid. His name is escaping me at the moment, but they're going to be a quality opponent, that's for sure, and they can really run on defense and kind of play a 4-2 scheme on defense, and probably give us some issues that we'll have to deal with. And offensively, they're going to be in the spread and try to get their athletes out in space. And we're going to have to, like I said, play really good as a team defensively to keep them in and make sure our run fits are good, and we have somebody on the inside and somebody on the outside, and not overrun the ball and all those things.
Keys the game, obviously huge. I think is turnovers probably going to be the.
Yeah, I think turnovers is real big. We can't afford to turn the ball over. We went up to Kettering Altar and had our second scrimmage, and they're a phenomenal team. They may be the best division. Well, I think they are ranked number 1 in Division 4 right now, but they could play Division 1.
Really?
They've got kid going Notre Dame, kid going Pittsburgh. They're just loaded.
Wow.
And they beat us pretty good, but we turned the ball over, I think, 2 of our first 3 plays and gave them a short field, so we were in the hole immediately. And with a young team, we got a little shook up, and we just need to calm down. And they did a better job as the game went on of handling that. But yeah, turnovers for sure. I think the kicking game will be big. We got a chance to make a field goal here and there if we have to, and if Ryan can place the kickoffs where we want, so that we're not giving it to them, and they're just getting a running start at us, and we can eliminate some big returns hopefully, and then maybe we can block a kick here or there. And I think offensively we have to be able to control the football through a combination of running and passing, and also tempo. I mean, there'll be times where we'll try to maybe speed the tempo up a little bit and catch them. Hopefully we can get them not getting a line properly and things like that. So we've been working hard at those things, but it's still, you don't know what's going to happen all the time as far as the turnover thing.
Real quick, we forgot to mention earlier in the show that we are going to have a special night next weekend at the game against McNick, and it's going to be to honor Joe Miller, who is a former coach at Anderson. And like I said, we're trying to get the record straight, but I know that he's either second or third on the all-time win list, and he came at a time when I think he came, Brown was winning a lot of games for Anderson, and then they had another coach, Keppinger, I believe, was there, and then Miller was there, and he came on. He did just a really, really great job. And he then became the AD at Anderson, right, and did a phenomenal job at Anderson. And he's well respected in the Anderson community. And I remember him, as an AD. And it's a great night. And I know when I talked to him on the phone, he's very, very excited. And I think it's just going to be a great night to honor Joe Miller. Sure. I mean, and well deserved. I mean, the guy put a lot of his life into Anderson High School and to make it a better place. And his son Bill's there now, and he's doing the same thing. So. I've only met Joe a couple times, but the stories you hear about him and the things are, just you could tell he was somebody that really cared about his players and about the school. Yeah, he was getting choked up on the phone when I told him, and he said it's, and as he was saying it, he was getting choked up. Said Anderson's a very special place to me. So I think it's going to be a great night for him and his family, and it's just well deserved. So it's going to be a great night.
Yeah,
he's just a great guy, and by the time this airs, it'll be before the McNick game. So if you get a chance, come out and pay tribute to Coach Miller, because he really was the heart and soul of Anderson for many, many years.
Absolutely,
for sure.
Let's go ahead and wrap it up. Let's thank all the folks that make all these broadcasts possible, but not only this show, but of course our games. The folks up here at Anderson Community Television, we've been doing this for 24 years up here, like I said, and they've been just as cordial and as cooperative as you could possibly get, letting us use the studio and their equipment every Friday night. We appreciate it. Of course, if you can't make a game, we do the games also. We simulcast, as they say, on usbnsports.com on Dan's website, and we do them live. So if you've got someone out of town that wants to listen to the game, a grandparent, someone that's graduated, a sister or a brother that's away at college, tell them to listen to the game and keep up with what's going on with Anderson football. And we really enjoy knowing that there's people out there listening to us.
They want to hear John Raymond on the sidelines. That's what our cameraman back there and our beat reporter down there. Maybe he can grab Jeff on an interview now that he can hear us now. So
that's right. We got
big.
We got something new this year that's going to make it easier for us to do sideline reports from John. So we look forward to that. And of course, John does a great job producing us tonight on these Redskin review shows. So we appreciate all that help.
So we can throw it down to the Hall of Famer.
That's right, the Famer.
How about that?
The Famer. Also, thanks to Denise White for all the stuff she does for us.
Food.
Of course, Dan's going to mention the food. And the guys that's always helped us all these years, my stat man, Steve Martin, and the cameraman Tim Huntington. And they've been doing this. Steve Martin was doing it as long as I've been doing this, and Tim came along shortly after we started. So, and those guys do it because they love Anderson football. That's why they do it.
Yep, they do.
So we look forward every year to doing that. And I actually have, for the first time in 3 or 4 years, I have the game time, so when all the games will be aired. So I'm going to go through them real quick here. Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock, Friday nights 11:30, Sunday nights at 4:30 p.m., and Monday nights at 10:30. And more often than not, this Redskin Review show will precede the game. So the Redskin Reviews Wednesday at 8:30, Friday at 11, Sunday at 4, and Monday at 7. So if you have a kid playing, or if you want to check it out or tape it or whatever, that's when the games are. And we'll repeat these every Friday night.
And these games, the Redskin Review will actually be on a lot of the websites, the football alumni site, the site for the football team, my site. So you're going to see the Redskin Review so people can catch up and kind of see what's going on. I know the former guys that have played love to watch this, so it's a good thing to do.
Well, good. So be Anderson against Northwest starting this year off. Coach, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
For Dan Albers, Coach Giesting, I'm Greg Ellis. Thanks for joining us on Redskin Review.